Yes, he did. He gives it to Henry. Henry trying to track this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Great Sports Debates. Today we're going to talk about UFC 302, but first I want to hit a couple highlights on the NBA side. So if you've been following the channel, you already know we've been big fans of the Boston Celtics as far as the Eastern Conference goes. You know, we advised mid-season to look at the Celtics over the field, even when the odds, a lot of people question minus 130. That obviously paid out really well. And we doubled down on it come playoff time at minus 440. And then even before the Celtics series, we took Boston at minus 900. Not to mention all the games we picked them in between now and then. Not to say, literally Boston made us tens of thousands of dollars. And we probably needed that because Denver didn't fulfill their bargain of how we thought they were going to do this year. But this looks like it's going to be a great matchup with the Dallas Mavericks. Now, I know at the time of this, that series is not over, technically. However, people are saying some crazy things to me, and I want to just address it right now to help all of you out. Let me give you this stat. Teams in a best-of-7 series in the NBA are 158-0 when they're up 3-0. So that's a number you need to pay attention to. Teams don't come back from down 0-3, and this Minnesota team is not some kind of special team that looks like they're going to do it. They didn't have any serious players out. There wasn't anything super fluky about the way they lost. And really, I feel like Dallas is a team we've all slept on a little bit. And I'll be looking to make my finals prediction after this series wraps. But I can tell you right now, I'm probably leaning towards Dallas over Boston. And let me give you a couple of key notes why. Luka Doncic's going to get his on anybody. If you leave him by himself, he's going to walk to his spot and get his shot. If you double him, he's going to find the open guy. Now, the key difference between that and some of the other people that they've played is he's got backup all around him. He's got Kyrie Irving that can take over a game at any time. Kyrie has stepped up as a leader. He's playing better defense, and it shows for the team. Not only that, they're surrounded by a lot of young, athletic bigs. And no matter how much people talk about shooting and all-stars, these are the things that matter in games. Dallas gets a lot of rebounds. They get offensive rebounds. They get putbacks. And most importantly, Luka finds guys for cut-through dunks all the time, even on the number one defense, Minnesota Timberwolves. Look how many times Gafford or Lively are slamming the ball, making key blocks, and just making good hustle, dirty work plays. And that's not even mentioning P.J. Washington, who seems to be hitting every corner three he takes. Or, guys like Jones that can jump out of the gym. Like, this is a good team top to bottom. And while we know Boston has, plays really well, and we talk about their team defense, the Stars have been able to score on Boston. The Pacers scored a lot of points in these series. They really lost some of those games in the last few minutes. All of them except one of them were close. In the Cleveland series, Donovan Mitchell scored points at will on them. So I think Dallas is going to be a tough matchup for them. And I'm not making the prediction now, but I'm pretty sure Dallas is going to be the team that I'm looking to pick. With that, though, we spent enough time talking basketball, and we might talk a little bit of NFL at the end. But I want to get this UFC 302 stuff out because, 299, we were 4-0 on our bets. 300, we are 3-0 on our bets. And we missed one of the bets we told you guys to make that would have made us 4-0. So, if you're watching, you guys have been doing good on this. And I want to mention before we get into the UFC, this is an area where you can find a lot of weakness as far as like from a betting perspective. You know, these lines and odds are not as tight as, you know, when you're looking through, you know, NBA, NFL stuff, you know, you don't see a lot of crazy lines that are like, whoa, that doesn't make sense. You can find that stuff in the UFC, especially if you bet early, you know, before the betting corrects the odds. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of it in this video, but I've mentioned it time after time. Look at any of our older, you know, UFC videos going back from the 290s and 280s, you know, on underdogs in the last year. Anything that we've bet like more than a unit, like bets we really liked, guys that were underdogs, straight up winning the money line, we're like 8-0 in there. And there's a reason for that. And you can look through the videos and see all of them. You know, I can give you a couple of them off the top of my head. You know, Dustin's last fight against BSD, he was an underdog. We bet him there. Michael Venom Page, his first fight in the UFC, somehow he was an underdog. We bet that there. But, you know, the track record's there. There's all kinds of them. And some of them were big underdogs, like plus 200, you know, plus ones. Just, you know, look through those videos, you know, if you're curious, you know, but this is a spot where you make some real money. You know, we haven't really made NFL money yet, but, you know, there's some of these where you know, we're making bigger and bigger bets. You know, the Sean O'Malley fight, his last fight when he fought Cheeto, we had 3 or 4 different bets going on that, you know, totaling up to $4,000 or $5,000. So there's money to be made in the UFC. But with that, let me start. I'm going to start from the early prelims, work my way up. Some of the fights that I'm not betting or don't have a lot to offer, we'll just go right through them quick as can be. And some of the ones that I'm more interested in, of course, the bigger fights, we'll talk a little longer on. So let's open with Lima. Andre Lima is undefeated. He's a good fighter. I'm probably just not going to bet because I haven't seen enough of him yet. The person he's fighting's changed several times, and he's like minus 275. And I feel like that's just high because I feel like there's a lot of safer picks that we can get in that price range. All right, moving on to the women's bantamweight bout. We have Perez versus Edwards. If I bet this one, it would definitely be on Perez. She's minus 185, and the way I've seen Edwards getting taken down in some of her fights scares me. Problem is, I'm a little gun shy with some of the female MMA fights because I feel like all of them have some holes in their game, and I could see this being a sloppy fight, and I just feel like there's better places that we're going to put our money on in this card. So let's just keep moving. All right. Last on the early prelims, we got Mickey Gall fighting Hafez. This is the safest fight on the card. Hafez has taken a major step down in competition after he shocked the world in his last fight. And even more important than him looking good is the fact that the UFC still has Mickey Gall in the UFC. And that might be over after this fight. I don't know what his contract is or anything like that. But, you know, this guy's been hanging around, you know, off of, you know, old wins over overhyped guys like Sage Northcutt. And, you know, he beat the eyeballs fight, you know, against CM Punk, you know, for whatever that's worth, which not a whole lot, you know, at least as far as, you know, UFC fighting goes. Hafez is like minus 395, minus 400, and I don't care what it is. This is a good one to just stack some money on Hafez because he's going to win this fight. You don't see a lot of mismatches like this in the UFC, but I feel like this is a pretty bad mismatch. All right, moving into the rest of the prelims, we got the welterweight bout of Rowe versus Matthews. I like Matthews here, but I'm going to just avoid this. Again, I feel like there's better places where we can wager, like the one we just mentioned. And on the lightweight side, we got Dawson versus Selecki. I like Dawson to win here. Minus 485, minus 500 just seems way too much. I don't like the odds. So for that reason, that fight's going to be an avoid for me. All right. Almeida versus Romanov in the heavyweight bout. I like Almeida here. We haven't made a bet yet. And it's not great because I think I could have got Almeida at a cheaper price earlier. He's like minus 300 or minus 305 now. We may put a fight on there. I kind of want to see how Romanov looks because sometimes he comes into these fights out of shape. And there's the scary part with him being a much bigger guy of, taking Almeida to the ground. But I think Almeida's going to be a little too slick for him. I think he's going to hit him a lot. And I think Romanov's going to be tired. So this might be one where you want to wait if you haven't already made a bet and just see how Romanov looks when he's weighing in. But like I said, he's come into a few fights sloppy. But I definitely like Almeida here. Haven't made a bet yet, but probably pick Almeida to win. And there might be some other bets in this that we look at. If we do so, we'll put that in our members section. And I just want to mention, for everyone that does join as a member, you see every bet that we make. So, pretty much every day we're making some kind of bet between NFL, UFC, football stuff. We're already starting to make bets there. And, we do some one-offs and some stuff like, baseball or hockey. If we see something or, just tipped off on something that's out of the norm. But that's kind of our bread and butter. And then in the last fight of the prelims, we got Cesar Almeida in the middleweight bout versus Kopylov. I like Almeida here. I don't think it's going to go to the ground. He's got the good kickboxing type background. But I don't think that either of these guys have fought a whole lot of people yet. So my pick's Almeida, but I don't think I'm going to do a bet on this fight. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. All right, moving on to the main card. We got the welterweight bout of Randy Brown versus Dos Santos. Brown's minus 180. I like it here for a small bet. He's got the edge on the feet, in my opinion. He's going to have a decent reach advantage. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I think he's going to be able to pick him apart on the feet. And I'm going to give an edge to Brown here, and I think it's worth a small bet. All right. We're getting into our top 4 fights here. We got Price versus Moreno. Price is, likes to go for knockouts, but at this point, his chin's been tested a lot. I want to say like 6 of his 7 losses or knockouts or something like that. So, while a lot of people are saying take Moreno at minus 265, I want to suggest the fight to not go to the distance at minus 190. You're getting better odds, and it's probably more likely to happen. Price might have a puncher's chance, and either way, he looks to try to fight to finish or be finished. So, maybe looking to just the fight not to finish. Or if you like Moreno, maybe you go Moreno to finish instead of just, winning at minus 265. All right, the middleweight belt, this is interesting. We got Holland here. He's fighting the bigger guy from Poland that's coming down. He's kind of coming up. He's going to be giving up size for sure. But despite that, he still has, a decent reach advantage. I don't think either of them are going to look to take it to the ground. And I honestly like Kevin Holland here. I feel like he's definitely fought the better fighters of the two. He's been tested against more people. He is coming off of 2 losses, but he's like minus 300, and it's been going up. So I was kind of hoping this would get a little closer. So I haven't placed the bet on this yet. I don't know if I'm going to for sure, but I like Kevin Holland in this fight. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. 2 more fights to go. We got the co-main event. We got the number 1 fighter, Sean Strickland, versus number 7, Paulo Costa. 7 seems high to me for Costa. Not really sure how they do this rankings because it really doesn't reflect his recent activity that well, in my opinion. We got Sean Strickland at minus 220. It's at minus 270 now, so that's a bit of a move already. We might look to make some additional bets on this. The more I think about it, sure, Costa's a durable guy. He could catch Strickland with some kicks coming in. There's ways he can hurt him. But based off of his most recent fights, I feel like it's going to stay on the ground. I feel like Strickland's comfortable there. He's going to walk forward. I couldn't think of a good fight to go review where Costa was getting pressured. But I feel like I didn't even have to look into it that much because Costa's 1-3 in his last 4 fights. He hasn't really looked that good in any of them, in my opinion. I know some people say he looked good in the Whitaker fight. But a lot of times he's just standing there and kind of getting picked off. He might have looked better in that fight than some of his others, but I definitely wouldn't classify it as good. Strickland wasn't as active as I think he needed to be in his last fight either. But either way, he's fought more. I feel like he's going to take it more serious. And he's looking to get back his title shot. I think it staying on the ground is a big factor. I got him at minus 220. You might want to look at Strickland to finish. I don't know, just to see what the odds are. Like I said, Costa's pretty durable. I don't know if Strickland's going to be able to finish him here. But I don't feel like there's a lot of ways that Costa can win this fight. But I definitely want to hear you guys' feedback, especially if you're looking at Costa. And then the main event, and this goes back to what we were talking about, where, if you remember, you saved yourself some money. So I don't know whose odds ESPN's using or if it's just changed that much. Everywhere I've seen is Islam's minus 600 up. This is saying Islam at minus 675. That's a steep price. We got Islam. We were looking for this right when the fight was announced. I think Caesars was the first place I saw it posted, and we got Islam at minus 450. So these things make a big deal. And this goes back to what we're saying. Stick with the channel. Stick with someone. Look into these odds and stay current. Because, in the UFC, just like we did with Sean O'Malley. And, we talked about that, the Cheeto thing. We got that fight as soon as it was announced. We had minus like 200 or something. And that jumped a lot up from there. I don't think as much as this one. Especially if it is at minus 675 now. Then it kind of gets tricky because how many thousands of dollars do you have to put on Islam to win back a few hundred? But if you didn't get it on early and you weren't a member and you didn't get minus 450, I would still look at Islam at minus 600 or whatever. Obviously, it's not as great. But if you are looking at Dustin, I saw Caesars has an odd boost. It's the best one I've seen. I was curious to kind of see if I play both sides, if I win money either way. I haven't did it, and I don't think I will. But interesting to me, Dustin to win by knockout at Caesars was plus 700. I've seen it like plus 650 some other places. So if you're a Dustin fan, maybe you just go all the way. You go Dustin by knockout. That's the way he wins. I think that's really the only way he wins the fight, if he wins by knockout. But the problem is, what guy that can get people to the ground, like really at an elite level, has Dustin beat? And, I don't want to use the Khabib fight as one fight and done, but I feel like Islam is decent with his hands, and we've seen how dominant he can be once he gets on top of somebody. I feel like he's got a lot of ways to win. He's the number 1 pound for pound guy. He's young. He looks like he's still hungry. Some people are saying he looks like he doesn't respect Dustin. I think he just feels like there's holes in his game he's exploited. Of course, he could get touched. I feel like Dustin could knock out anyone at that weight class. But even though we're saying minus 675 sounds like too much, those odds got there for a reason. They didn't open at minus 675. The odds are there because people are betting on Islam. Lots of people and lots of money on Islam. That should tell you something. So let me recap this real quick before I make a quick message about the NFL and we'll wrap it up. In the main event, we like Islam to win. We like Strickland over Costa. We like Holland to win his fight, but I'm not sure if we're going to bet that or not. I prefer in the Price Moreno fight, the fight not going to distance, but I'd pick Moreno. I like Brown in the main card. And then, for the earlier fights, we went over all those. That's all in the beginning of the video if you're interested. I want to make one quick note when it comes to the NFL. We've already bet some division winners, and we've already bet some win totals. I'm still looking at the schedules and trying to find all the bets that we like early so we get the best odds on those. But let me know what you guys want to see because I'm here to give you content you want. And the NFL video, well, that's going to probably be the next video. It's probably not going to be soon. We got a sports thing we're doing in Texas for a couple of weeks. And then when we get back, we'll probably do that. I want to look for a good guest that's an NFL strong guy that we can get on here. So I can just bounce some things back and forth and it's not just, all my opinions dragging on. But if you like the show, let me know in the comments section. Like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. And like I say, with the comments, I always answer them as quick as I can. If you send something, I love talking about sports here. We'll definitely get to it and answer it at some point. Thanks a lot, guys.
This matched up with McGrady.
No, T-Mac.